Good evening. Could you state for our audience your name and what you do?
My name is Radio Basim, and I'm a DJ on 91.3 WYSO. I play a funk show on every Friday night.
Can you give me a little bit of history about funk music, the phenomena?
You know, funk music goes way back to, I think, the first term in American history where the word funk was used was back in the New Orleans blues era. And it was a musician named Buddy Bolin, a trumpet player, and he played in a small dance hall, and he came with a song called Funky Butt because it was so small and it was before air conditioning. And so funk was a way that he described the way the room smelled when he got finished jamming, as people was dancing, and he was playing so good that he came up with a song called Funky Butt. And police would arrest, because it was like, you know, old school people back in those days thought that was a very rude term. And if young kids were whistling this tune, Funky Butt, the police would arrest you. So funk goes way back in our history. And what we know now is funk, and even Marshall Jones said that, it's this music that you can't help it, it just makes you move and it makes you groove. And even if you don't want to dance, you're like, oh man, you hear it and you start nodding your head to it. So I think that's the deep history of funk.
You said, and this is what Marshall Jones said?
Well, Marshall Jones said about how funk just makes you move when you didn't want to move. And when the Ohio players would play at different places before they got famous, they would look at that guy, that cool player, leaning on the wall, like, I ain't dancing, I'm here to pick up some girls, I'm here to get my drink on, and they would try to make him, nod his head, and then they knew that they were playing some funky music. So funk just, you can't help it but, move your body to the groove, I think, with good funk.
So what I think I'm hearing you say is that funk is a movement, it's motion.
Yeah, it is. It's a life force, and it's your heartbeat, and it's just the pulse of life, a good funk, when you get that groove going. Whether it's in musicians, you can get funky the way you make breakfast in the morning, or the way you decide what you want to wear. It's an attitude.
Oh, an attitude. Well, speaking about attitude, what's your role with the Funk Center?
Well, I've known David Webb, and I know he's a fantastic gentleman, and I've seen the hard work that he's put on this, into this project, and he's the right guy to make this happen. And so whatever he needs, I'm going to be there to do my part, because it's something long overdue in this city, and the musicians here deserve their recognition, and the community deserves to have a place that they can call their own. So I just want to help out in any way I can.
Sounds good. So what is your plan to increase the awareness about funk, the funk movement,
Yeah.
the funk phenomenon?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Well, the reason I'm here at WYSO is because I did a documentary called Boogie Nights, the history of funk music in Dayton. And the timing was right. I did that piece, and Bing Davis heard it, and then Bing Davis started saying, you know what, this is, it was a funk renaissance, I think in 2011, when I did this radio piece, and then Bing Davis started the Visions of Funk at the Schuster, I think in 2014. It was this fall, and in February 2014, Visions of Funk at the Schuster. The Ohio players performed there, and then I know that David's been working on the museum with the former mayor Gary Lightsell, and so it is a renaissance, and it seems like all the energies are coming together from the universe at the right time. So I think this is the right time for the museum.
So how would you label the vision of a museum? Whose vision is this then?
Yeah. Well, it needs to be the vision, let the music speak for itself. You know, Michael Sampson did an exhibit at the Wilberforce Museum in 1998, and I got to go to it and walked around and saw Roger Troutman's and Zapp's, stage outfit, old vinyl records, actual guitars from the musicians, the Reed brothers, ticket stubs of shows, and it was a great place, and it was a great thing, and I wish it was still standing, but when it went away, Michael had originally said, well, now that it's no longer at Wilberforce, I can make it a standing exhibition somewhere in Dayton, and it never happened, I had moved away and came back, and still there was nothing there. And when you talk to the musicians, Keith Harris and Marshall Jones, they said, we really need to have this place here. And I'm so glad that David Webb took it up and is organizing the people and trying to raise money to make this happen, because it's long overdue.
So do you believe that this is a divine call? It seems like people are going away, but we have to come back and establish a work that's not been fully completed.
Yeah, that's true. We have to, and even when the museum opens, and I do believe it's going to open, it's got to stay vibrant, it's got to stay functional, it has to pull in resources, and that's when I think a lot of the latecomers will kind of come on board, and I think it's going to be a groundswell of support once it gets open. But, we can't fool ourselves and say once the museum gets open, it's a done deal, because, people have to come and has to have revenue. They're going to have to pay a DP&L bill and things like that. And so what I'm thinking is people from all over the world are going to come to Dayton, Ohio to be a part of this exhibition, just like they come to the Air Force Museum. You're going to be seeing people speaking different languages in the hallways of the Funk Museum, and it's really going to be something.
Great. Basim, you have really motivated me and taught me something about the history of funk. And so I look forward to you being a big part of this movement and keeping the cadence and the marching going. I just can feel your energy.
Won't it be something? It's going to be awesome.
It will be awesome. We're going to march that march.
That's right. It's going to be great.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Stephanie. It was a pleasure.